Hello and welcome one and all to another Dark Library episode where we talk about Kamen Rider Geats. We're on episode 2 of Kamen Rider Geats, the new series of Kamen Rider. This is episode 2, Chance Meeting 1 Treasure Hunt. There's a lot to say about this episode and about Geats in general, so without further ado, let's get into the quick synopsis of what actually happened in the episode. So following up from last week, we had we were focusing mainly on Keiwa Sakurai, as he was given his entry into the DGP, Desire Grand Prix, and we were given a little bit more of a look into this new world that was created by the winner of the previous DGP, Ace Yukio. We see that Ace's wish was to create a world where he's a superstar, and has become the star above all stars. I know it's an actual longer title, but I don't feel like saying it, and Star Above All Stars says the same thing. And he has basically become the greatest star of all time, basically screaming girls everywhere, his own TV show, all that kind of stuff. Super hyper celebrity guy over here. And yeah, it seems that this isn't exactly what he wanted, or isn't truly what he was desiring, because he's entered the DGP again with a whole new desire. And even they're curious about what the fuck's up with this man. Didn't you just get what you wanted? And, well, we get to look at a bit of him a little bit in this episode, but he's still a very aloof, mysterious figure who we don't know a lot about, as we still focus a lot on Keiwa this episode. Keiwa plays around with his rider belt a bit, and ends up teleporting into the DGP game alongside a bunch of other people, as they're basically told the gist of the DGP. Essentially, the Yamato, as that's what they call it, the J is apparently silent. I find it funny that their name, Yamato, is the ancient name of Japan, so that might actually come up with something. Anyway, the Yamato are basically alien invaders, which is very rare for Kamen Rider, who the DGP was created to stop. As the DGP is created to pull a bunch of randos together to stop the Yamato and their invasion of Earth. Very, very Gantz-like a view series. Seriously, all we need is a big, giant black orb in the middle of everything, and then, yeah, this is basically Gantz. Even the outfits are all black. Yeah. So this game was entirely created to fight the Yamato, on paper, giant ass air quotes there. And, yeah. So they're prepared to go down for the first mission, and the first mission is to basically treasure hunt, as stated in the title, to get back items that were stolen by the Yamato, and this is basically an excuse for everyone to grab a power-up or two. So we have the people go down and grab power-ups by knocking out or pushing back the Yamato, sometimes comically accidentally pushing them away. And this ends up with our 6 main riders for the series, air quotes, giant air quotes on that, leaving Geats, Tycoon, Nago, Buffa, Ginpin, Mary, and Dapan as the 6 riders for this series. Ginpin, Mary, and Dapan being completely new characters, Nago being Leon from last week, and Tycoon is Keiwa, with Buffa also being the guy who's the same guy, and obviously Geats is Geats. So they are left alive. We don't know what happens to everyone who was disqualified. We believe that the only way to get out of the DGP is to die, but it's possible that they could have been sealed away or just disqualified, as the only people who seem to be disqualified die when their core or their ID cores are destroyed. But we don't know what happens to the people who were disqualified for not finding a gadget or a treasure in this treasure hunt. So they are brought back. So they basically chill out in the waiting room between worlds, which is, well, the waiting room, as they wait for the round to end. But before the round is over, the group are all summoned by Samuri to come out for a second round, or a bonus round, essentially. Basically, a boss Yamato, which are essentially like the big fortress, although this is more of a, I don't know if this is considered a mid-ranked, but anyway, this is the boss for the fight. Well, they've shown up and are causing havoc, so the group has to go down and stop them. So they go down and try to fight the Yamato with their weapons that they've acquired, and Ace actually doesn't have Magnum. Yeah, Daupon has Magnum. He's also one of his core items for his base form. Also, Keiwa has Boost, and Boost is a weird item. And Keiwa has Boost, so Geats essentially does not have any of his base form equipment so far. So that's interesting as fuck. They go down and have a big fight. In the middle of the fight, we learn a bit about Genpin's ideals before we get to the big fight. Genpin is actually the dude who was the dude interviewing Keiwa in his job interview in episode 1. His reason for joining the fight is, well, his son is sick and he needs either the money or resources to create a world where his son can be cured, as he has anime disease number 5, unspecific child disease. That's probably cancer, but they don't want to say cancer out loud, but it acts very much like cancer. I'm only saying cancer because that's almost always what it is. Like, anime cancer? This is just what we're going to call it, anime cancer. Because he's like in the hospital and in a coma and shit like that, but we don't know what he's actually sick with because Sirius doesn't want to put a name to the disease just in case. Anyway, he wants to save his son, and because, this is that kind of show, dude spurts out his ideals and is immediately killed in the actual big fight. His ID core is destroyed like a Shiroi in the episode previous, and Genpin dies. Ace this whole time has told Keiwa this lie about his desire being to help children, and so he convinces Keiwa to hand him the boost buckle, and with the boost buckle, Ace uses it to destroy the boss before berating Keiwa for basically being so gullible, as well as Keiwa's own vague idealism of creating world peace, which is extremely vague, and he needs to be more specific about what he ultimately wants. He doesn't really know what he wants. But as he berates Keiwa for being pathetic, and the episode ends, we actually see Ace donated money to Genpin's son's treatment in order to get the child to have the surgery or whatever he needs to get cured. Not even leaving behind his name, but leaving behind the moniker of Mysterious Fox. And that ends our episode. Gotta say, I really like this one. Okay, so first things first, Ace. Ace very much gives me Tendo Soju vibes, and I kind of love it. He gives me very strong Tendo Soju vibes. Those who don't know, the main rider of Kamen Rider Kabuto. He's a kind of semi-aloof, distant figure who was set up to be absolutely perfect at everything he does, and may or may not be read as people as being completely arrogant, which he is completely arrogant. Don't get me wrong, he's a dude who wished for a world where he's the ultimate star, so he's 100% an arrogant asshole, but he still has this caring side to him that he shows every so often in more subtle ways, or hides his more caring self away, so for one reason or another, but it does come out in other ways, such as in this case donating the money to support a dead man's son. We don't know if the family knows he's dead. I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out eventually when he doesn't come back, or if the memory of him has been erased. Very likely, because apparently the world doesn't remember what happens every time the Yamato go down. We also learned a bit more about the DGP. Everyone participating gets one wish granted, essentially. That wish is their ultimate desire. And apparently they are set to destroy the Yamato. Although that could ultimately be a big-ass fucking lie. The Yamato are a faceless invading horde of aliens that we don't know more about. And they said the DGP was created to destroy them. Again, that could be a bold-ass fucking lie for all we know. Most likely is. We'll find out by series end, especially with the visuals for the OP. Speaking of the OP, the song is pretty good. I don't really get down with it until the chorus pops up. But once the chorus pops up, I'm actually in love with it. But the visuals for said opening are really good and ominous as fuck. Basically, I don't trust any fucker in charge of the DGP. They are all suspicious as shit. Like, they were already suspicious as shit, but now I'm even more like, you guys are up to something, and I don't know what it is, but I don't trust a word out of your mouths, and we're gonna find out exactly what that is later. But until that point, again, I don't trust a word out of any of your mouths about what exactly is going on here. Interesting notes. I do like the fact that basically Ace or Gates does not have any of his base form equipment. He doesn't have Magnum. Doppan has Magnum. And honestly, the Doppan suit looks pretty good with Magnum. I wonder if there are multiples of the same forms, because we do see in episode previews and obviously pre-release stuff that Gates is going to use Buffa's zombie power-up. So I wonder if there are multiples of each piece of equipment, or if it's something where they can steal the equipment from everyone else. Although we know they can't steal it in the waiting room, as violence there is not permitted, and rounds for immediate disqualification. Other things of note, Keiwa's character. The series continues to give Keiwa major focus. Again, very strong Kabuto vibes here, because they did that with their secondary writer in Kabuto, until he eventually became Kamen Rider. I'm forgetting his name. Oh, Gatak. How could I forget Gatak for like 5 seconds? Gatak is like the best character in Kabuto. So I'm wondering if we're going to do a thing with Keiwa like that. We already have Toei scans revealing his personal armor form, or what will be his main equipment. And I wonder if we're going to go through a story arc like that for Keiwa, in which case we would dive into his ultimate desire and have him develop something more concrete instead of being as vague as world peace. I also wonder where Neon's shit is, because she has not had scans or Toei leaks that have shown her and her personal equipment. Obviously, Ginpen's dead. I wonder if Deppan's going to get his own personal equipment, or if he's just going to stick with Magnum the whole series, or however long he's around, considering this is a Battle Royale series, and we've already had one of the promoted 6 drop out, and that series goes on, we're probably going to get more writers. And I wonder what Mary's equipment is ultimately going to be. There are leaks from the Desire driver that people are hacking it to basically reveal a lot more sounds, and I'm really curious about these sounds. Another thing is that they released the transformation course tutorial. For those of you who don't know, these are basically quick little episodes or online webisodes that they show off the transformation for the writer in order to show kids how to actually use the toys and some minor henshin lore. In that, we learned that the boost buckle is a one-time use item. Essentially, it's one of those super power-up items that you can only use once. And then this episode also reiterates that, as well as the previous episode reiterates that, with Gates using the boost buckle, but then it rockets off of him and just dips. I wonder if we're going to have the boost buckle be used by Gates in every episode, or if it's going to be an every so often kind of power-up, because we don't know how it's acquired outside of the treasure hunt. Like, does it just immediately spawn in on the maps at random? And are we going to have a version of the boost buckle that's a more permanent use item later on as a power-up for Gates? It might lose some of the power, but it's more readily accessible. We don't know. And it's all the speculation is really cool. So overall, I have to say I like this episode. I am really curious about the DGP, their mysterious leader, as I don't think he has a name yet. And basically about the characterization going on. Obviously, the show is focusing a lot on Ace and Keiwa. Her name's Neon, and Mary's writer aren't given a lot of focus. Doppan has an interesting character quirk, as 2 people ask him for some things, and he's basically like, as if anyone would. So, we might get some character focus on him next week, not sure. And obviously, Buffa's character. We're down to 5 writers. We might get some more out of them as the series goes on, hopefully, in order to flesh them out a bit. But the series is focusing a lot on Ace and Keiwa in a kind of Kabuto Gatak situation, although with Kabuto being a bit more of a jerk to Gatak in this case, because again, Ace just basically yells at Keiwa for being so pathetic, dips, and leaves Keiwa basically whining that he doesn't have a power-up at all anymore, because of the fact that everyone has at least a basic power-up besides him. And that is the episode. Next week looks like we're having some zombie time. So, see you all next week. So, minor promos at the end here. But if you want, I have some books below, some Kamen Rider and Super Sentai inspired books, as well as some other anime inspired novels or novellas. All of it's on the Amazon page. It's all in digital and paperback, as well as some hardcover if you're into that. Yeah, have those, and that's basically it. I'll see all of you guys next week, hopefully, if I can get a recording out on time. Life is crazy like that sometimes. So yeah, I'll see you all next week for episode 3.